My name is Elsa. I'm Swedish. I'm 23 years old. I've been traveling the world alone since high school. When I was just 19, I had already explored the entire Scandinavian peninsula, sometimes by bike, sometimes hiking, sometimes with tours, but mostly alone. And honestly, I didn't even go straight to Goa. First, I was in Thailand. I had a great time there, resting a bit, partying a bit, just enjoying myself. But then I got this feeling like something inside me whispered, go to India again. I'd been to Delhi and Mumbai before, but this time I wanted the West Coast, the so called capital of the hippie world. I'm not really a hippie myself, but I'm curious. Even if I don't end up liking something, I always want to experience it. I thought, I'll do yoga for a week, meditate a bit, and then move on. So I checked into a hippie camp in Goa, and the first few days were actually nice. Morning yoga in the sun, evening chats around a fire. I'm more of an observer than a social butterfly. So I mostly listened, watched, absorbed the atmosphere. Then I met two Russian girls. One was calm, the other was hyperactive, unstoppable. You know those people who never seem to get tired? Yeah, exactly that. One day, the energetic one came up to me and said, Elsa, let's rent a motorbike. You haven't seen Goa until you explore the inland. I told her immediately, the inland gets crowded and chaotic. We'll stand out too much. But she kept insisting, smiling like an excited puppy. So eventually I said, okay, but only a short ride. The sky was cloudy that day. It kept opening and closing, like it couldn't decide. Then came that famous tropical drizzle, light but constant. Our clothes stuck to our skin. The roads turned muddy. She was laughing nonstop, and I was laughing with her. But then the motorbike's sound changed, a rattling noise, then a choking sound. I said, let's stop and check. She waved me off. It's fine, it'll keep going. It didn't. 5 minutes later, the engine died completely. We were stuck on a rural road. No cars, no people, no noise. Just empty, damp silence. But that silence didn't last long. First, 2 boys appeared, then 3 more, then 5, each one calling over another friend. Within minutes, we were surrounded by more than 10 males. Some were barely teenagers, others in their late 20s. At first, I thought they were going to help. That's the natural instinct. But none of them looked at the bike, not even once. Phones came out. Cameras were pushed into our faces. One tried taking a selfie with me. When I stepped back, he laughed and stepped closer. The Russian girl leaned toward me and whispered, Elsa, I don't feel good about this. I felt the same, but I didn't show it. And suddenly, I remembered the stories. The whispered backpacker gossip, tourist girls surrounded, stories that surfaced online and then disappeared, exaggerated, minimized, twisted. And for the first time that day, it hit me. We were completely alone. The circle around us tightened. Some didn't touch us, but even the way they moved closer was invasive. The worst part was the noise. The laughter, the shouting, the excitement. You couldn't understand the words, but the intention was unmistakable. I didn't panic. I couldn't. There was no room for that. Instead, I slid my hand into the small pouch around my neck. I always carry a small pepper spray in every country I visit. Suddenly, the Russian girl was pushed aside. The group clearly expected something from her. I raised my voice. Hey, stay back. Nobody listened. More boys joined. Phones in our faces, hands reaching toward us. It felt like some animal instinct had taken over the crowd. The danger was very real now. So I pulled out the pepper spray. I aimed at the closest guy. and I sprayed him directly in the face. Instant chaos, screaming, people grabbing their eyes, stumbling back. Others started shouting angrily. The circle wavered, but it didn't break. And then, from down the road, 3 men came running. Older, maybe around 40, all holding long wooden sticks. They rushed in, yelling, not "please stop," not "calm down," but raw, furious commands. "Back off, get away, now." The change was unbelievable. Dozens of young guys, bold just seconds ago. One look at those men, and reality hit them. They scattered instantly, running in every direction. Not one of them stayed. I ran to the Russian girl. She hugged me tightly. We were both shaking. Neither of us could speak. The men took us to a local hospital, then to the police. Doctors said we were physically fine, but these things don't leave marks on your body. They leave them in your mind. Statements, reports, endless questions. By the end, I was completely drained. After that day, I went silent. I didn't go back to the hippie camp. I shut myself off, stopped traveling for a while, and went home. I still travel today, but I don't go into rural areas anymore. I stay in crowded, touristy, safe places. What happened that day almost became something much worse. When I think about what could have happened, I freeze inside. There's always a quiet alarm inside me now, but still, I haven't stopped seeing the world. I'm just not alone anymore, and maybe I never will be again. Why am I telling this story? Because if you travel solo, you can't say, "That would never happen to me." My name is Elsa, and this is the scariest, most real story of my life.